good. Okay, well, thank you, folks, for joining me here tonight. This is our January 31st program. And I'm back here in my home again in Sedona. I was gone last week. I basically had an out-of-state trip was the best way to put it. And then over the weekend, we had our workshop there in Southern California in Santa Ana, Irvine. So, and when I said I'm back into the regular workshop schedule again, we still have plenty of seats for the workshop in Denver coming up on February 17th. The people who attended the Santa Ana workshop, who had been to workshops in the past, they said they absolutely love the new information and the fairly new program that I've got. Now, it's not all new, but I've added probably a different 30 to 40% of material that becomes very relative to how we're going to handle all this money and everything that's going on for us. There are things I can share in the workshop that I just can't share in a live program for here in whether it's on the radio program or stuff like that, because once you put it on the internet you can absolutely lose control of what the material that's out there. So that's stuff, that's why there's things I can share at the workshop to a live audience where it's not recorded. So but always we would love to have you there. Now also, uh, let's see what we're getting here. I just want to make sure I'm doing good. Uh, hold on. Okay, okay. I was getting some messages coming in there, and I just wanted to make sure that they were all doing good. Okay, yeah, all right. Thank you. Let's see. Good, good. Okay, so there we are. Now there was just a quick comment that was made there in the workshop. When am I coming to Orlando, Florida? I don't know. It'll probably be at least a year before I'm in Orlando, but I'm going to be, remember, in Denver on February 17th. And then 3 weeks after that, I'm going to be in Sedona. I haven't absolutely made up my mind yet where I'm going after Sedona, but it's probably going to be Chicago, somewhere in the Midwest. And then after that, I'll probably go to Seattle because I haven't been there for about a year and a half to 2 years. And we'll work it out from there. Okay, but let's see, what do we got? What is going on? Okay, now with what is happening with the currency exchange. Now, folks, please remember, I have absolutely nothing to do with what is called the RV. I don't deal with the RV. The RV is an entirely separate issue, and all of my funding sources saying there's never going to be an RV like the people talk about on the different blog sites. See, who in the world, first of all, is putting up the trillions of dollars to pay for what they talk about? They can't identify funding sources. And if you allow anybody to walk into a processing office, you're now allowing basically, drug dealers and criminals to become multimillionaires overnight. In this currency exchange, which is a private contract exchange, every one of you has to fill out paperwork. And before I can pay you, I have to do a background security check on you to make sure that, you're not a criminal or any of that kind of stuff. I got to make sure that you're clean, that you don't have a felony record in your background before I can even pay you. So you got to have a contract, you got to have a background security check before any of these funds can be delivered. So that's what is extremely important. Now, let's go back again to what is the main reason that all this is happening. The primary reason that most of this is taking place is because we are ready basically for a complete shift and change with how we are operating in our global financial system. The global financial system that we have in place now is basically run by those that we call the cabal. Another term that is commonly used is called the Khazarian Mafia. They run and control the financial system, and they've set this up so that the money flows into them, and then we, the common people, are basically just their slaves. We're their workers working in their mega companies to make them become multi-billionaires. Let me do this about talking about some of the shift and change that's going to be coming our way. I want to read some statements again from Ben Fulford's latest newsletter that he had put out just a couple of days ago. Okay, now I'm going to read from, this is not the whole thing, I'm just going to read from some of it. The official defiance by Texas Governor Greg Abbott of illegal orders coming from the fake U.S. President Joe Biden and the blackmail comprised Supreme Court marks the opening shots of the Second American Revolution. This is part of a worldwide revolution against the satanic Khazarian mafia rule. In France and other parts of Europe, farmers with tractors and the modern equivalent of peasants with pitchforks are on the warpath against the Khazarian mafia controlled puppet governments. Russia, too, is finally preparing to march into Western Europe and destroy the Nazi infestation there. In the Middle East, the UK has officially withdrawn the Balfour Declaration, meaning Israel is at it currently exists is finished. In China, too, the Communist Party is facing an unprecedented crisis as its real estate based financial system implodes. There's also a revolution brewing in Iran as Khazarian mafia puppet supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei is being replaced according to Iranian sources. There's a lot to cover, so let's start with the situation in the United States. The move by Texas and 27 other states to send the National Guard to the Mexican border in defiance of the legitimate Biden regime is revolutionary. What the Patriots need to understand, though, is that by trying to stop the illegal flow of military-aged males into the U.S., they are only fighting one arm of the octopus. They also need to understand the Khazarian Mafia deep state is hoping to manipulate this event into starting a civil war in the U.S. in order to cancel elections and stay in power. In any case, the main problem is not in Texas. As Archbishop Carlo Vinagro warns, the city of the devil is clearly identifiable. In the New World Order, the United Nations, the World Economic Forum, the European Union, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, and in all of those so-called philanthropical foundations that follow an ideology of disease, death, destruction, and tyranny. These groups gather in Davos, Switzerland to openly declare that they want to reduce the world population through organized wars, famines, and plagues. In any case, the military purges are in preparation for a financial black swan event that will remove the Satanist main source of power, the control of money. That is what is critical. I'm going to read that again. The military purges are in preparation for a financial black swan event that will remove the Satanist main source of power, the control of money. As this report was about to go live, M16 called to inform us a huge financial domino has fallen with the collapse of Barclays Bank. This will lead to a Tuesday Lehman event, according to M16. And UK hedge fund QB seems to know something is about to happen because it amassed a short bet of more than $1 billion against top German companies, including Volkswagen and Deutsche Bank. The European Central Bank, for its part, confirms it asked banks to detect a worsening in sentiment, which would lead to a deposit run. Once the big U.S. and European banks like J.P. Morgan and Dutch Bank, etc., go down, the Federal Reserve Board and its entire system of Babylonian debt slavery will end. This ties in with what the Asian secret society sources are saying about some sort of March financial political reset after the year of the Wood Dragon begins in mid-February. The wood dragon represents vitality, creativity, success, intelligence, and honor in Chinese culture. First, though, the old system has to be imploded, and that is what is happening even in China, as this headline shows. China's stock markets have lost over $6 trillion as economic woes deepen. Also, the Rockefeller-linked Evergrande, the world's most indebted developer with more than $300 billion in total liabilities, has been ordered to liquidate by a Hong Kong court. This will create a domino effect that will wipe out the current Chinese banking system. So what you're seeing there, folks, that Ben Fulford is saying, we are right on the verge of a complete financial collapse, but that system has to happen. I have been told consistently, for those of us that understand this currency exchange, is the current Khazarian Mafia run, cabal run financial system through our Federal Reserve banking system has to be what I call neutered. Now, it doesn't mean that they go away. It doesn't necessarily mean that all the finances collapse. It means that they lose their power and their control. The current system, the current fiat money system, basically goes under, and this money of the currency exchange is what is designed to replace it. Now, myself personally, I think what we're going to see is it's going to come in and phase in as the old system phases out. We're not in a position where we can have an absolute complete financial collapse of the whole system, because then we would be in really serious problems that would create chaos. It would create a potential civil war, and it would create absolute pandemonium all around the world. But this money of the exchange system is trillions of dollars that is in off market accounts, which means they're not a part of the normal global financial accounting. They're not accounted for, but they're out there and they're real, and it is the money that is designed to replace the current system. And what this does, it makes a complete shift and change around the power of money. Because see, right now, as I've said, the money system is run and controlled by the Federal Reserve banking systems, the cabal systems. What this does, it returns the power to the people. The people then who honor this money, have this in a different asset backed banking system. The power returns to the people, just the common people and those who represent them. And the Federal Reserve banking system, the cabal system, basically becomes totally neutered and out of power and control. That is always what this has always been about, is for us to replace that system. That is why I want to encourage you to be able to participate in this currency exchange. Now, I've been talking about in the newsletters also that it is still open. They have opened it up for more to be able to purchase more dong. You can purchase the dong from me at $62 per million. I basically do kind of I have a link for a credit card payment where you can buy 5 million dong for basically $312. And what this does, I mean, that money, that dong is designed to pay out at $1.50. So your 5 million dong, which you purchased for about $312, turns into $7.5 million. Why is this happening? This all goes back to the original start from what I call, who are the dragon families that are based currently out of Hong Kong. Now, the dragon families are an ancient bloodline source that goes back a couple of thousand years that have always been what are called the white hats in this financial system. And over these thousands of years, they have collected massive, massive amounts of gold. And they have this gold stored in very, very secure places. And this Texas processing office that we go through, their bank accounts, the gold is basically the collateral that backs up those bank accounts. And that is what is going to pay for this. Now, the dragon families wanted this shift and change to take place going back to the original Bretton Woods Agreement back right after World War II. But they realized that the banks were too corrupt at the top and the countries were too corrupt at the top, that this money would never make it down to the people. This is designed for these funds to be sent out to the masses of the everyday common people like you and me. They tried this again with what was called the Green Hilton Memorial Agreement in 1963 with President Sukarno of Indonesia and President Kennedy, and that fell apart. Now, there's another whole story behind that I'm not going to go into, but it didn't work. So the dragon families were trying to say, how do we move these trillions of dollars to common everyday people without interference from the cabal-based system? How do we get this out there? And they realized is that the cabal could not stop scores of thousands of people, all the way up to 80 to 100,000 people, being given millions of dollars each and told to go out and spend it. That they could not stop. What that would do, it would put so much money into the current system that is being used to purchase items that it would basically completely change the global financial structure, and it would create massive amounts of what's the word that I'm looking for? Economic expansion in countries all around the world. And the economic expansion is not designed to make the billionaires more wealthy. It's designed to expand the power of the common people like you and me. That's the real reason for all this. And this money that they have in these bank accounts is very real. Now, the Texas Processing Office used to have this money in HSBC Bank in Hong Kong. And it's about 3 years ago that there's tension that had developed between Hong Kong and China. And that's when they realized if they had the money in a Hong Kong bank, which is owned, Hong Kong basically is owned by China, China could come in, shut down the bank, and take all the money. And so they realized it wasn't really safe there. So they have since moved those funds into multiple banks in multiple Western countries. But the money is there and it's very real. All we are waiting for is the official release to come from the white hat sources. These are quiet white hat sources that run this exchange. This is a private contract between white hats in the government of China and in the government of the United States. It's important to know that the official government people of China, President Xi Jinping, has nothing to do with this. And in the United States, the Biden administration has absolutely nothing to do with this. The decisions are made by quiet white hat people who have been in charge of this money system for well over 20 years. Now, the China has said yes, they were ready to go, and the United States has said no, not yet. And I think these things that I just read to you in the Fulford report are kind of what they've been waiting for. They are waiting for the current system to basically become neutered or to implode so it doesn't have the power to step in and steal all this money from us, making them more wealthy. Now, Fulford said it's very easy. We could see what is called a black swan financial event anytime in the next month or two. What I would do, folks, and I've shared this in the past programs, I would be very careful and very cautious about where you have your money in banks. If you have discretionary money in banks, I would encourage you to move it out. Now, discretionary money is money that you don't need to live on, okay? We all got to have an everyday living expenses. We got to have the money in our bank account so we can use our debit cards and stuff like that. That's understandable. But when you've got those extra money, what I did about a month and a half ago, I bought about $12,000 worth of silver. And then just 2 days ago, I bought some more silver. Now, what I'm also going to do, I'm going to move some money into my Coinbase account. That's a cryptocurrency account. But I'm not going to place it in the cryptos per se because the cryptos are very vulnerable. They can move as much as 10% in one day, up or down. Now, if you want to do that, that's fine, but they're very vulnerable. But the other sources I've been saying, the crypto accounts are basically a kind of a safe and secure place to put your money. And in Coinbase, which is the largest crypto company in the world, they have what is called a US dollar crypto. It's just, you're going to put it in there just as though it is a regular US dollar sitting in a bank. It doesn't move, it doesn't go up and down, but it's placed as a US dollar element, but it's not sitting in a bank that might collapse or go under or have some financial aspects going on. It was interesting where Fulford says that Barclays Bank is going down. You notice you haven't heard anything on this on the mainstream media news. It was about a year and a half to 2 years ago when the Silicon Valley Bank basically, had a catastrophe and it basically had to close up. And these people basically were on the verge of losing millions of dollars. Well, what has happened? Yes, they got restored, but that created a very quiet, fear based response from the people. What you're not hearing in the mainstream media is that the American public have pulled somewhere between 8 and 10 trillion dollars out of their bank accounts. So what's happening, the banks are becoming more vulnerable because they're losing customers and they're losing their cash, i.e., the money that's being held in their banks, and the people are pulling their money out of the banks. And if they're like me, you're either going to put it into gold and silver or you're going to put it into a form of cryptos. Gold and silver is a hard financial asset, and you can't always get your money right away because you got to somehow sell it. But if you put it into a crypto account, you can basically just go online and shift it back to your regular bank account, is what you can do. So you have that availability to still have the money immediately, but it's not sitting in a bank. The cryptos won't collapse, but the banks could. So that's why I would encourage you to be able to be aware of what are you doing with your money, where is it, what is it what's happening with it, and to again not be having your money, your discretionary money, sitting in the bank accounts. I know I've said this before, and I've been talking about this, that this could have happened anytime in the last 2 or 3 years. But what we've had is that, again, the cabal, the Khazarian Mafia, are falsely propping up the stock markets. Everything has been being told to us is that all the signs are there for a financial collapse. Everything is indicating that. But yet they're not unfolding to have it happen. Well, why is it? Is because the stock markets are being falsely manipulated to be held higher than what they actually are. And the cabal can do that because there's now computer generated automated trading. They can set up an account that, let's say, has $1 billion in it that will automatically basically trade on the market to keep the market stable or even falsely inflated versus collapsing. And they have the ability to do that in what is called today's computerized automated trading. If they have a lot of money, someone can do that. Now, I'm not going to go into the full extent and detail about how that can be done, but let's just say the stock market can be falsely manipulated, and that's what the common everyday people like you and me judge for the stability or the condition of our economy. Back in 2008, when we went through an economic collapse, it started in September of 2008. And by the time we rolled around to the first week in March in 2009, in about 6 months, the Dow Industrial Average had dropped 52%. It dropped 52% in 6 months. Now, what most people don't know is that 52% of all the people in America have money in the stock market. It's not directly, but it's in their 401k retirement accounts. It's in their retirement accounts through their businesses or where they work. These 401k accounts put their money into the stock market. So what happened back in 2008 is that people saw their retirement accounts go down 30-40% because of the drop of the market that had happened. It created an absolute panic and chaos. Now, yes, it did come back, but it came back because it was manipulated. But this time, in my estimation, we aren't going to see the ability for it to come back because the Khazarian Mafia system is going to basically be neutered, and they won't have the resources to bring it back. They manipulate the market because it keeps the people at peace, it keeps them content, and they don't go into deep fear. But yet the real reality is Other financial experts are saying, man, it's about to happen. So that's the story. That's what I'm talking about tonight. And what's really important for all of us is to understand and know that, again, when it comes to the currency exchange, I have absolutely no idea when we're going to get paid. The funders never pre announce the release of the funds for security reasons. But they have said there's a lot more room for people to come in. If you're new to this, you want to come in, send me an email request saying you want to be a part of the currency exchange. And what you are actually doing, you are purchasing Dong currency from me. See, it used to be you would physically send the currency to me, and then I would create your account, and then I become as your broker, and then send it to the Texas processing office. But the processing office has a large amount of surplus currency, so they're asking us to buy it from them instead of you going and buying it from various sources. You could go to Amazon.com and buy Dong currency, okay? But what they do, you buy it from them through me. So when you send me the $312, I am basically going to purchase 5 million Dong for you, and that goes into your account, and I act as like a broker for you and have an account for you with this Texas processing office who has these trillions of dollars in their bank account. They let me know if it's basically at a point where they can't take any more, or we can't purchase any more from them. But highly encourage you, if you want to do that, you need to send me an email request. You can send it to the Dave Schmidt at MSN.com email and send me a request there, okay? I think that's pretty much all I needed to share tonight. If you have any comments or questions and you would like to come online on Blog Talk Radio, the number there, the call-in number is 515-605-9356. Again, that's 515-605-9356. You basically call in, and then you press 1 on your touch-tone phone. That lets me know you want to come on the air, and I already have a couple of people here. So I'm going to go to area code 203. I'm bringing you up on the air. Area code 203, you're on the air. What are your questions or comments?
Hi, Dave. This is Peter from Connecticut. Yeah, I know you just said that we could buy more currency. I'm already at 5.
I'm sorry, Peter. Go ahead. I didn't quite hear you. Peter, I don't know what's happened to the sound here. All right, what's going on here? I'm not hearing you. I don't know. I turned my volume up and it seemed to just quit. Are you still there, Peter? I don't know what happened here, folks. Okay. Um, okay. I'm going to try the next caller. The next caller is the number area code 203. Let's come on there. Okay, you're coming up. All right. Okay, area code 203, you're on the air. What can I help you with? My sound has gone out. I don't know what happened on Blog Talk Radio. All of a sudden the sound has gone out. All right, I'm just going to... It is what it is, folks, okay? Let's call it a night. And again, if you want to be able to be involved in the exchange, you'd like to purchase some more, go ahead and just send me an email request, okay? So we should be able to see you next week. And again, I have lots of room for the Denver workshop coming up on February 17th. Okay, all right. Thanks a lot. Okay, good night.